that. That's the message I'm getting through this coach search, the vibe I'm getting through this coach search. So, I don't know. Maybe you're a Wild fan and you disagree with me on that, or maybe you think, holy cow, finally a way that it makes sense to me. Fantastic. Let me know either way by sending me messages and tweets on Facebook and Twitter at Scotty-Ball on Facebook and at BDST Show on Twitter. Off Balls on Ice, we've got a couple quickies here, and Balls Deep Thought of the Day, just barely going over 2 hours, not too bad. In the boxing world, we've got a big fight, as I mentioned, coming up this Saturday, big championship fight, Canelo versus Khan. I'm picking Canelo because I've heard of him way more than this Khan guy. But who knows? All I know is people seem to care about this fight, and that's fun. That's good for sports and for boxing because we're lucky if we get between 1 to 3 boxing matches, and that's what they really should be called. After the Pacquiao Mayweather debacle, we shouldn't even call them fights anymore. We should call them boxing matches. But if we get 1 to 3 really good boxing matches a year now that anybody even cares about, let alone that turn out to be quality. But I guess I don't know. I'm speaking strictly more from size and interest standpoint. If you can get 1 to 3 fights a year in today's boxing climate that the general sports fan public care about and take interest in, that's a success. And this is one of those fights. That's all I really know about it, because I don't follow boxing the way I did when I was a kid. And it was back in the heyday with Holyfield and all those awesome guys, Tyson and Sugar Ray and you name it. But yeah, I'm picking Canelo. Fights on Saturday. I'm sure it's probably HBO or some other pay-per-view. Check it out. Look it up if you want more info on it. Won't be hard to find. Moving on to soccer, there was a huge, like the biggest underdog victory in the history of sports took place in the Premier Soccer League recently, where recently their championship was determined for the Premier League Soccer. And this is where Manchester City and Manchester United and Chelsea, all these famous clubs that you've heard of, have won championships recently. And this year, the champion was Leicester City, who entered the season with 5,000 to 1 odds of winning the championship. 5,000 to 1. Put this into perspective, okay? When the Lakers earlier this year beat the Golden State Warriors, and it was measurably, they put out the numbers, it was measurably the biggest upset in NBA regular season history of any basketball game ever played. Those odds were like 300 to 1. 5,000 to 1. How bad I wish I had the DeLorean and Doc Brown living in my neighborhood? We would hop in there, we would go back to the beginning of the season, and I would put $10 down on every team in the Premier League, because that way it wouldn't look suspicious. I'm betting on soccer, and I want to win, so I'm going to put 10, and I'm a shrewd. I'm a shrewd. So I'm just going to take $10 down. I'm going to put $10 down on every team. So I'm going to pay like $100 to $200 to place this bet. I'm going to win 50 grand off the $10 I put down on Leicester City. Oh my gosh. So congratulations to Leicester City for quite possibly the most unforeseen, unpredictable underdog championship victory in the history of mankind. All right, and finally, or at least our final topic of the day real quick, the Kentucky Derby. Yes, that thing that nobody cares about, but it's going on now, or it's coming up, and nobody cares about it until it's going on. and then a few people care about it, and then they forget about it. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, it's going on this Saturday. Not sure where it's held. Somewhere in West Virginia, or Tennessee, perhaps. Not. It's in Kentucky. I'm sorry. Sometimes you just got to be stupid, in an attempt to be funny, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But anyway, Kentucky Derby going on this week. Last year it was a big to-do because of American Pharoah and, going for the Triple Crown and getting the Triple Crown and, all that stuff. There was star power and draw and intrigue and storyline. And this year it's back to just being that, race they have every year with the horses, like the one that you know the name of, the race. You don't know the name of any of the horses or the riders or nothing like that. But so I can't tell you who's going to win, who you should bet on, odds. I mean, I could look it up, but I don't want to. You have the same access to the information that I do. So if you want to know which horses are running in the Kentucky Derby, what time you need to start watching it on Saturday on NBC, and who you should put your money on, use your phone. Tap the button labeled Internet, or Google, or whatever, and check it out. All right, so now that's it. We're at our balls deep thought of the day. We're only a couple minutes over our time, or our extended allotted time, I should say, and we'll make it a quickie. And balls deep thought of the day this week comes back to the NFL draft. Sorry, or you're welcome. Either way. And we're going to keep it short and quick. And it's a ponderer, a Christian ponderer. So for weeks and months now, we've scouted and we've mocked and we've analyzed and we've graded and all this stuff. The draft is done. Undrafted free agents have signed. The whole process is done. Now they can start getting players into rookie camps and OTAs and all that stuff, okay? But the thing is, as much importance as we put on the draft and where players go and who takes who and stuff like that, we need to remember that over 500 players in the NFL last year were signed to their teams as undrafted free agents. There's a little over 1,600 players in the NFL at any given point in time during the regular season with the 53-man rosters times 32 teams. So that's a fairly good portion of the league that wasn't drafted at all in any of these 7 rounds, which means several things, in my opinion, or two that we'll focus on primarily. It means A, all these mockers and website scouts, newspaper scouts, things like that, they don't always know what they're doing. They don't always get it right. Quite often they get it wrong. But the flip side of that we need to remember is it's not just those guys. There's a lot of times where the teams get it wrong, and the mockers and the analysts actually had it right in the first place. Because if teams were just getting it right and we could just look at what the teams do and go, oh, well, I guess we were wrong on these evaluations and stuff, and, this is what it was. If that was the case, there wouldn't be so many damn undrafted free agents playing professional football. The GMs would get it right with their draft picks. And those would be the people playing on the teams, not, having 5 to 10 undrafted free agents on just about every roster in the league. So keep that in mind, that just because teams go, well, no, this is how we have them ranked on our board, and this is how we scout, and, we're running the team, we're football experts, that's not always the case. And a builder can only be as good and as productive as the quality of the materials that he's working with. All right, that's everything I got for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. Hope it wasn't too football heavy. If it was, too bad. Suck it up. Grow a pair. This is America, land of football, beer drinking stuff. But anyway, Thanks as always for tuning in, whether you did it on SoundCloud, YouTube, or my personal favorite, the free Spreaker app, or if we're finally up and running on glradio.net. Not even sure, but we will be one of these days. Thanks as always, as well as connecting with me on Facebook at Scotty-Ball and on Twitter at BDST Show. Check us out next week. In the meantime, go visit me on Facebook and Twitter, or just go to VikingsDigitalDiaries.com and check out my most recent interview with the newest Minnesota Vikings tight end, 6th round draft pick, David Morgan II. Awesome stuff. And until next time, have a safe, fun weekend. Get through your work week next week until we're talking sports again. And until then, I'm Scotty Ball, and I'm out of here. Peace.